Hey friends, welcome back to a brand new vlog. Your eyes do not deceive you. That text really did just say Friday, and if this isn't the first of my videos that you're watching, you'll know that I usually start recording on Mondays. This week I didn't record during the week for one key reason, which is that I spent the majority of the week in the office, and I don't think it's particularly interesting to just show you me kind of like live updating things and then splicing it all together at the end of the week. So what I've decided to do moving forward is the weeks where I'm just in the office all week and there's not really much to show you, that I'm just going to give you an update on how the week went at the end so you can kind of keep tabs on the way things are going. If this is the first of my videos that you're watching, then hi, thank you for joining me. My name is Sam and I am in the process of building two businesses from scratch. I'm Australian, I'm based in New York, and the two businesses that I'm building are a laundry concept and a skincare brand. And I will go into more details about those when I go through the updates, but you can also watch back previous videos to get detail on what it is that I'm building. Now, this week on the skincare front, you might remember at the end of last week that I finished it off by saying I was really hoping that by the time you watched the video that I would have actually chosen a name and it would be confirmed that it was kind of low risk for me to go ahead with as far as the trademark was concerned. I am very happy to announce that I have a name for the skincare brand, and that name is Uniform Victor. I am not going to go into detail again about what it means and all that sort of stuff, but stick with me over the coming weeks, months and years, and all will become way more apparent if you don't want to just go back and watch the previous videos. But super excited to have that one off the plate. Of course, when one problem goes away, you end up with a whole bunch in its place. So now I have another one to work on, which is that a big kind of core part of the brand that I was building was based on the fact that the FDA regulations for skincare ingredients, like sunscreen filters in the US are woefully out of date. In the last 10 days or so, however, announcements have started to come out that the FDA is actually getting ready to approve just one new sunscreen filter for the US market next year. And it's only one, which is way fewer than the rest of the world has to play with, but this one is quite significant. So I am figuring out at the moment exactly how I pivot to be able to accommodate this change in regulations, because it is quite significant as far as my brand concept was concerned. Exciting for the US market, and I think exciting for me because it gives me an opportunity to do something that I wasn't able to do before, but it still requires some thinking with regards to product strategy and all of that sort of stuff. So that's something that I'm going to be working on in the next few weeks in conjunction with my product formulator and chemist and the dermatologist that is part of my advisory board. So good things, but still a problem that I have to kind of think through and work on. Now, on the laundry concept, the enduring problem of finding a space continues. I still haven't got to the end of term sheet negotiations for the space that I'm most excited about, which is frustrating. It just feels like everything takes so freaking long. You might remember that last week I got to speak with the landlord, which was fantastic. This week the contractor went through the space, and next week the engineer is scheduled to go through the space. Unfortunately, we've hit a bit of a roadblock in negotiations because the landlord is asking for some things that I believe it would be in breach of my fiduciary duties to my investor to agree to. So that could be a problem. I have spent quite some time, many months now, looking for a space, and I'm beginning to think that it might not be worth me continuing to pursue finding a space, which means I'm going to need to pivot the approach and either go back to looking for an existing like laundromat to buy and then retrofit into what I need, or I'm going to have to change the strategy, change the business model, and actually try and go like product first or do something else rather than going service first. So fingers crossed I can resolve that in the next couple of weeks. I've given it until basically the end of the month to be able to figure that out, to be able to kind of shake all of the lease opportunities out. If they don't go ahead, then yeah, gonna have to pivot, which is gonna be fun. The other thing that I've been doing a lot of this week is interviewing designers. like graphic designers and visual designers, I am looking for someone that is based in New York who can actually physically see and touch the things that I'm working on, whether that is the laundry product and laundry service, or they can actually come and like physically play with the products that I'm working with and those sorts of things. Now, obviously you can send people videos, you can send people physical product or those sorts of things. So it doesn't overly matter where they are. And I would make an exception for someone that was like wildly talented or wildly in line with what it is that I'm thinking. But I've discovered that New York is such a specific place. And when it comes to understanding, like really having a finger on the pulse of the city, it is so important for people to actually be here. And honestly, when you're waiting for shipping times, like for product to be shipped and all those sorts of things, it's just drawing out your timelines in a way that you don't want when you're in a startup environment. It just makes things that should take hours take days or weeks, and it's really frustrating to work with. So that is kind of where we are closing the week out. Next week, I am really hoping to have more momentum on the design front, but also I'm really hoping to actually have more traction on the lease agreement, or like the term sheets for the lease, not the lease agreement itself. So please cross your fingers, sacrifice a goat for me, all that sort of stuff. I'm also hoping that next week I will get to speak to my product chemist again, and we can talk more about product strategy and actually have refined that strategy in light of the FDA changes, so we know what's happening moving forward. Anyway, that's me for the week. I hope that's a good update. Those of you who do watch this, I do get DMs from time to time. I know I don't have a huge subscriber base yet or anything, but it'd be really wonderful to hear from you. Is this the kind of update that you think is interesting, rather than just like watching me splice talking to camera stuff together after having spent a week in the office, or would you prefer me to do it differently? Thank you again, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Until then, enjoy what's rest of the week. Enjoy what is left for the rest of your weekend.